Hey, what's up, guys? We're back and we're live once again for the Canadian MMA Podcast because I'm still on vacation and I absolutely can't get my shit together and record some podcasts on like a normal timeline. So I guess we're here. What's up, man?
Not much. Just got had that crazy weekend of like three events that I watched. I know you watched like two of them because UFC doesn't get that love anymore. But yeah,
Yeah,
very
but
good.
I watched, but you know, I watched while watching something else,
Yeah, got to
which
meet
was
up
Fight
and
League Atlantic.
yeah, no, got to meet up in Victoria though, which was cool for a little tiny bit. And yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, I watched four events, if we're honest, because there was the fucking PFL, bro.
Oh yeah, I forgot
These
about that.
fuckers were on, and bro, let's start with that before we get into the unified and FLA events. And like, there were a couple Canadians fighting, three Canadians fighting outside of these promotions, one in the UFC, one in one championship, and the other one was in the PFL. And before I have to redo my rant, but in English, let's talk about Ali because we should talk about Ali before we just shit on the PFL because fuck, man. He's an elite lightweight, and he once again had an amazing performance. Um, I didn't like to see Anthony Romero get done like that, but still, he stepped up to the plate and fought one of the best guys in the world, and that's the shit that can happen when you fight one of the best guys in the world. So I won't put that again on him. But yeah, now Ali, dare I say, probably his best PFL performance, like the way that he was letting his hands go, that his front end with the uppercut and the lead hook was setting up everything. He still had the good jab, the good left, the good body kicks, but like his lead hand was way more efficient, and I felt like he let his hands go way much in that fight. Threw in combinations, did a lot of very good stuff. And like I said, Anthony Romero is very underrated. I think on the like world scene in the best promotions, and Ali really put it on him and was winning the fight quite handily when he got the finish, which is an absolutely brutal finish. So props to him, man. What you think of the performance?
Yeah, it was a pretty amazing performance from Ali. Like, I don't think he really got touched much besides that one crazy kick that Romero threw that was like a fake leg kick up to a front kick. Like, I don't even know what it was, but it was a crazy kick. But yeah, Ali just looked big. Like, it's crazy how big he looks in there. Every time I see him in the cage, he just looks massive, and um, it just keeps getting better with every single performance. I was really interested to see how he would look after like winning the $1 million this year, but it just looks even better, and it's gotten like two tough tests and really just showed like he's been around and he's not going anywhere.
Yep. Now, amazing performance. Got his way into the playoffs. Was supposed to fight Nathan Schulte. Is not anymore. He's fighting Bruno Miranda, who beat Alex Martinez. Did you get the chance to see all of this fight? Because uh, I think when I tuned in, it was like half of the second round,
You
and I think Martinez was doing pretty good, but Miranda looked to be a little bit in front of him, like in the striking, landing the better shots. But I think Martinez, unfortunately, it's kind of the story of his PFL career, but looks very good in his fights, but is often not able to do enough to actually get the win.
Yeah, like you unfortunately missed a really good round one. Like it was pretty crazy. Martinez dropped him in the beginning of the round, and then Miranda ended up dropping him back. But the story of the fight sort of just looked like, yeah, in the striking, Miranda had a bit more power and damaged him a bit more. But Martinez did look good. Like he had his moments of success, but it just wasn't enough to win the rounds. And yeah, ultimately couldn't get it done. But he always like makes the fights really entertaining and goes out there and is super active, puts out a lot of volume. So props to him. And both these performances this year, it's like he hasn't found the success, but he looked good.
Yeah, and what do you think about the Miranda matchup for Ali? Like I don't think it's quite as high level as, let's say, Burgos or Schulte or someone like that. It's a good test, but I think it's a test similar to those he already had in the PFL.
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to game plan it really well. Like Miranda, it's going to be a dangerous test because he has a lot of power and he's yeah, like hits very hard, and you've seen that in both his PFL fights so far. But I think Ali's just going to be able to outgrapple him and just get the job done.
Yeah, and then rematch Shane Burgos because man, you fucking know it that they're sneaking Shane Burgos to the finals.
Yeah, it's PFL is gonna PFL, which we're gonna talk about, I'm sure, in a minute. But I just wanted
Yeah,
to talk a bit more about the Romero and Ali fight. Just like to give Romero a bit more props because he came out and fought like one of the top guys, fought their champion, and um, yeah, it didn't go his way. But I'm hoping that he'll get that chance to be in the PFL playoffs next year because I think if you give him two regular season fights, it'll get pretty interesting with him.
yeah. There's a lot of people that I think he can beat in that bracket. Now, what is it gonna look like next year? That's the question because they might lose two guys. I don't think
Stevie
Schulte
Ray's.
and Manfio are gonna want to fight for them again. Stevie Ray retired. Burgo's probably gonna be there. Um, so let's say, but yeah, I hope he gets a spot next year for the solid that he did them taking this fight on shortish notice while everybody there were lots of pullouts for this early fight and Romero was the one that said yes and that stepped up. So props to him for that. But yeah, man, like, I don't even know how I feel about all of this anymore, man. Because it's been talked about by so many people and everything, and as much as I was pissed, and I think rightfully so, because they did some absolute bullshit here. I feel kind of like that moment where you've been telling something to people for a long time, and they're like, yeah, but they're not quite listening to you. Well, I kind of been saying that PFL is the worst fucking promotion ever and that they're trash and that their old thing of it's a meritocracy here. It's a tournament and you gotta win the tournament to advance and we don't have matchmakers in the PFL and the tournament format eliminates matchmaking or whatever. And bro, they're the league that match makes the most and they try to put people in front of other people and I of course the fight was weird. Like the fight between Schulte and Manfio was weird. But fuck, man, what do you expect? Like if you listen back to the fight, commentary looked like they expected it as soon as the fight started, basically. So why was everybody expecting that it was gonna be such a shit match where both guys don't want to fight? It's because they're best friends. It's because they're training partner. They live together. One is like the godfather for the other guy's son. Like it's not all two training partners that are in the gym together and that they get along well, but they're not friends outside of the gym or whatever. Like it's two very close friends and you fucking put them one against each other in the regular season. Like, let's say this fight happens in the playoff. I'm not sure it's like the greatest fight ever or whatever, but I don't think it looks that weird because there's actually a stake. Like the one that is able to win that fight continues in the tournament and has the chance to win the million or whatever. Uh, why the fuck do you book two teammates in the regular season? And the reason why is because they both won. And there's five guys who won, and there's four guys who's gonna make the playoff or whatever the fuck. So you want one of them to have a loss, so that you put Burgos in the easy matchup, and then there's two guys that are 1-1, and one of them has to make the playoff for some fucking reason, and you're gonna sneak Burgos in front of the other one. Like you're trying to eliminate some contenders by matching them together in the regular season to not make sure but give the best chance for the guy that you're clearly trying to push and that you invested all that money in to get to the playoffs, and that's Shane Burgos. And then the fight happens. It's weird as fuck. Everybody talks about it on Twitter of how weird it is and everything. But then even before like all of the bullshit happens, we're sitting there and Burgos has won his fight, but by decision. So he only has 3 points. And then Ali has 3 points because he has one win over Burgos. And Romero has 0 points because he hasn't fought in the first fight because he wasn't in the season. He took a short notice or whatever. And then they're saying if Romero wins by finish, he's in the playoff, which makes sense because Oli would have lost, so he still have 3 points. Burgos would be 1-1 too, so he'd still have 3 points, and Romero would have more than 3 points because he would have a finish in the fight. So Romero makes the playoff. That makes sense. Then Oli had to have a win or a draw to get into the playoffs. So that means that if he lost, he would have been eliminated from the playoffs. But if Ali loses by decision, you got Romero with 3 points. He's 1-0. They never get the 1-0 guy over the 1-1 guy. They never did that. Never. I don't understand why. Because if it takes you half the fights to get the same number of points as the other, in theory, you did better than him. But that's not how they do it. So, okay. So Romero wasn't going to get in. Then it leaves us with Oli, who would have been 1-1 with 3 points, and Shane Burgos, who would have been 1-1 with 3 points. How does Shane Burgos, with 3 points and the same record as Oli, go over Oli when the loss on Burgos' record is to Oli? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. So, even before they did all that switching up and all that fucked up shit, like, it made no sense at all why Burgos wasn't eliminated because he only had a decision win and only has 3 points and can't have more points than Oli, even though Oli loses. You know, they can only be equal and one beat the other. So it makes zero sense. Zero sense. So Oli wins this fight. So it's not even a question. It's not like he just goes to the fucking playoffs, whatever. And then we're like, oh, so he's gonna fight Schulte and Collard is gonna fight Miranda, and we'll see how it goes. And then we wake up the day after, and the fucking PFL disqualified and suspended the two guys that they believe did not put like the maximum effort as it is obligated by their contract or whatever the fuck they said. That was absolutely stupid. So basically, they put the two best friends one against each other. The two fucking guys did not fight, so the PFL disqualified them and snuck fucking Shane Burgos into the playoffs. Like we always, like Etienne called it before the Oli fight. They're gonna find a way to sneak Shane Burgos into the playoffs, and they fucking did. And like, let's say this situation happens with any other fight than Schulte against Manfio, I'm not sure how I react, you know? But the fact that they booked this fight between two best friends and then were all scandalized when the fight was absolute trash and then used that excuse to fucking sneak Burgos into the playoffs, it's absolutely ridiculous. And the other thing that's not confirmed or whatever, but I was listening to the MMA Hour and Ariel Elwani heard that basically right after the Schulte and Manfio fight, the PFL already took their decision that they were gonna do that. And Burgos said like on a video, I just landed in Newark and I learned the news. Like that's not what Ariel learned. So that may be why Burgos wrestled to a decision instead of aggressively looking for a finish because he kinda already knew that they were gonna disqualify the two other guys and that he was kind of de facto get into the playoffs because of that. So it's all kind of fucked up shit, bro. It's all kind of fucked up shit, and I don't know, man. What's your opinion on all that, man? I'm just fuck. I couldn't believe it for a day and a half when I heard the news, man. I was like, these sneaky motherfuckers, man.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start because it's a lot of you dropped the whole bomb on it, but it was super fishy from the start. Just when they like obviously when they were showing how Burgos could get in when there was no way that he could get in and it would make sense. But I've always like tried to like PFL and always tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. But since like being a huge Ali fan and seeing how they match him up every single time, it's like with the whole Anthony Pettis thing and then the Shane Burgos thing, I started to I don't know not like them very much. But this is just like it's fucked up because yeah, I don't get how it's so obvious to everyone, and they're just still doing it, and they're so bad at hiding it now. It's like they don't even care, and they're gonna get away with it because they can say that they didn't compete to their highest efforts to win the fight. But yeah, it's messed up. I don't think it impacts Ali too much, to be honest. But it's yeah, PFL is messed up. I don't know what else to say. I think you hit it on the head.
Yeah, and like on the French podcast, I did like the old thing, like from beginning. Like, bro, first season, Ali missed his first fight because of injury, and he started at -2 points. They took points away from him, like he was in the negative before his first fight. Then I think they got away with that the year after, but the year after is the old storyline of matching Ali against all the champions, while Pettis was just fucking fighting whenever he wanted, like not on the same day as the others. And like Ali lost some points because of that the year before, but the year after, Pettis is just able to fucking fight everywhere he wants. Then there's the purses that get leaked, and Ali's making like 27 and 27, while Pettis making like 700 seven hundred
So
and
messed
fifty
up.
thousand dollars.
To fight like Miles Price when Ali's fighting Natan
Yeah.
Schulte,
Yeah,
Riley's
exactly.
Manfio.
At least the salaries were leaked here, and Ali and Burgos both make 100K. The
Yeah,
difference is that Ali is 50 and 50. He has a win bonus, while Burgos is on a flat rate. So Burgos is making 100K, even though he wins, loses, whatever the fuck, he makes 100K. So he has no win bonus. Honestly, props to him for negotiating that. I think that's the way that all MMA contracts should be. But yeah, so you got the whole fucked up situation with Pettis, the way they match up Ali. Then you got the salary, and everybody's like, that's super fucked up. Then this year comes, they keep on matching him with the most fucked up matchups possible. They don't put him on the poster, while they put Burgos all over every poster while he's the champ and he's fighting Burgos. Uh, then there's the whole drama, or whatever you call it, of like fucking half the roster popping for steroids. Like the first time they go to somewhere, like I say that they test, but like you're getting tested on fight night, and like there's nobody popping at your door to randomly test you in the lead up to the fight. And like, if you kind of know what you're doing, it's pretty easy to not test positive on fight night, even though you've been on steroids for your whole camp, and still have the roster fucking fail their drug test. Like, and they had to redo, especially at 185 and up, which is super surprising that the big guys are on steroids. Huh? Could never have guessed it. So
even
yeah,
but
there's the steroids fucked up shit, and then like this absolute clown show that they do with the fight, that they put that on themselves, man. It's just like, if this happens, like I said, it's any other fight. It's Miranda against Martinez, and it's the weirdest fucking fight ever. And both guys are not fighting, and they just disqualify them both. And Burgos gets into the playoff because they disqualified Bruno Miranda. Let's say that. I don't know how I would feel about that. But the way that this happens to the fight between the best friends, that they booked this fight, like they made this fight happen, knowing that these two guys did not want to fight each other and were not interested in trying to hurt each other or whatever. And then they book this fight, this shit happens, and then they're like, oh, we need to take actions. Yeah. Fucking bullshit, PFL, man. It's like the most fucking rigged league that you're ever gonna see, man. It's fucked up, bro.
yeah, it's crazy. Just like 'cause they try to say that they're the one for the fighters. It's like a normal sports league where they have a regular season. It's they every single show they say it like 5 times. We're the only league that has a regular season and playoffs to
Yeah.
determine our champions, and they're just still choosing who's seeded by who. Like, yeah, it seems like it makes sense with Shane Burgos just coming out and wrestling this guy with having like not much urgency to finish, and them telling him like just get the win and you're good. But yeah, it is what it is. PFL is going to PFL, and people are still going to be saying that they're going to take over the UFC.
I hope they take over the UFC, man. It's probably gonna happen. Huh?
Yeah, you want the smart
Fuck.
cage to. You want to always be looking at the smart cage.
Yeah, and all the data that they give us, like, so interesting. Like, I want to know the live odds, the speed of the punches, bro. How many calf kicks were thrown in the second minute of the third round, bro? I want to see all that shit, man.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy seeing the live odds, and like I just always remember Marlon Moraes was like minus 2,400 against the other Moraes, and then gets just knocked out, and it's just Yeah, they're doing too much. They're doing way too much. Just trim it way back.
Yeah, and bro, like even like momentum wise, like last week they had the super arranged John Jones and Ganu face off.
Yeah,
Like bro, that they planned this like to a T, and it gave them so much social media reach and like impressions or interaction or whatever the fuck you want to call that. And then they you got the discussion with like, oh, Bellator are looking for a partner, and they're out there saying, oh yeah, we've been discussing with Bellator. So it kind of finally looked like with the Ngannou news, then the face off, then that they were getting some like not good but not bad publicity for the first time, and they just pulled that fucking move, and bro, they destroy everything because everybody is laughing at them. Like even Ariel Alwani, which I was kind of surprised by his take because he's usually the first to ultra shit on the promotion, but like he was acknowledging that the Manfio and Schulte fight was weird as fuck, and like that it was maybe not fixed, but clearly there was an agreement between the two parties that they weren't gonna do too much to each other, and even him, with all of that said, that wasn't the right thing to do from the PFL. So man, it's fucked, bro. It's just fucked, man.
yeah, and they posted a little like craziest moments of the second half of the season, and they put the Jones and Ganu face off in there, and they didn't put Ali's KO. Because, yeah,
They're so dumb, man. They're
yeah,
so dumb, bro. I hate them. So let's talk about Unified.
yeah, bro. Let's get into it.
Let's talk about. I wanted to have a little rant about Unified, but they just fucking they pulled the rug under my feet, man. Yeah, like my thing was, why the fuck do you guys have prelims if they're not gonna be showed anywhere? And finally, they're on OnlyFans, so I can't complain. Like I'm not gonna get the OnlyFans. I'm not gonna do any of that. But they're somewhere, bro. So I can't complain. I can't have my rent. The fuck. If you want to see the prelims, you gotta buy the unified OnlyFans.
It's
And
free,
like,
I think, for now.
yeah, I okay, man. You see, my research stopped there at their post. I was like, oh, okay. So they're somewhere. I can't complain anymore. But yeah, that's about the extent of the research that I did regarding that. But yeah, there were some prelims and they were on OnlyFans, and it was three fights. Musaeb Baina from the United States defeated Jiu-Jitsu guy Cesar Bonilla by TKO. And then we had the pro, which was really the fight that was bothering that I couldn't see live, was the pro debut of Clayton Pye against Mark Mosier. And he won by unanimous decision by out wrestling his opponent. So you'd be surprised to hear that. And yeah, I had the full recap by Zach Powell and Kev Popovic. So thanks to them for that. And then Nate Small, Izudin Atme, the rematch. Atme won by split decision, so he's kind of 2-0 in that series. And so that's the fight we didn't really get to see. So it's gonna be tough to say anything about them. But we got to see some other fights: Mohamed Ado, Taylor Cahill, and yeah, man, that Mohamed Ado guy is pretty good, I think.
Yeah, this first performance, he looked really good on the feet, and now he goes out and shows off his grappling. Landed some nice kicks in the process, and yeah, gets the submission. Super excited to see him out there again because it looks like he's got a lot of potential. Like, comes out on the scene against a 4-0 opponent, gets the win, and now yeah, gets another finish win, this time in the first round. So props to him.
Yeah, like he's clearly super athletic, which helps, which always helps. And bro, I don't know, man. These fucking Krujev guys, man. I don't know what they're eating and what they're doing, but they're just like, have you ever seen one trash Krujev guy?
No, it's crazy.
They come in with like almost or no amateur experience in the case of Jake and Mateo, and they're just good, bro. They're just fucking good. They're good strikers because of Krujev. They're good grapplers because of Pete Fazikas, the jiu-jitsu instructor. And I don't know, man, they're just a fucking solid team that every time a guy pops up from there, he's good and he's ready to go. And so props to them. Props to Mohamed. I fucking love Mohamed, man. He's a very cool guy. I had the chance to meet him at the last unified event after he won his fight against Matt Special. We got to watch the Louis Jourdain fight together because they're training a lot with the Jourdain and the Jourdain BTT team with Fabio Alanda. So now I'm super happy for Mohamed and for their team. I like them, and I hope. Well, I don't hope because I know it's gonna continue in the right direction. So props to them for that. Then Cody against the brutal noodle. It was a good fight. I fucking love the brutal noodle, man. The guy is has no fucks to give. He's just there and he's throwing some techniques, some normal, some less normal, and he's just like down for a fight, man. You love to see a guy like that who's down for a fight, and he was fighting a very good prospect, and he had some good moments, man. It was a challenging matchup for Cody in the end. I think he did enough to win every round, almost every round. But yeah, he didn't have the volume of that fight. Clearly, the brutal noodle was the volume guy here. Cody was able to clearly land some very powerful shots here and there, and I think that's what probably gave him the advantage. But that was a cool performance and a challenging fight for Cody, who moves up to 5-0.
Yeah, that was a super fun fight. Like the brutal noodle, he brought the fight from the states, but yeah, Cody looked really good. He landed bigger throughout the fight, of course. As you said, Johnson landed more volume. He was super active, but Cody's shots had a lot more effect on him. And like got the reactions. He made him stumble back to the cage a few times and landed some big takedowns in round 2 and 3. So uh, yeah, it's good to just see Cody fight a guy like that. Like Johnson just beat a 3-0 decent prospect before that, so good to see Cody beat a guy like that, move to 5-0, and yeah, super fun fight.
Hmm. Then the Omi Tom Theocaris, friend of the podcast, just came and pulled the Ali Obey knockout before Ali Obey and was fucking hammer fisting the poor guy into oblivion. That fight should have been stopped. Like, as soon as this fucking knee landed, the fight should have been stopped. But fucking poor Nathan Pierce got his head pounded through the cage.
We had
And
Aaron Bronstetter pulling a Dan Hardy. I think it was him yelling, "Stop the fight!" I got flashbacks to that Jai Herbert fight. But yeah, bro, that was crazy. Like he brutalized him with that knee right away. I was super sick to see that in Ontario too. But yeah, this showed a lot of damage in 15 seconds.
yeah, and Tommy's the fucking man, and I'm just happy to see him being successful. He's an awesome guy to be around. He's got a great story, like lost so many people like recently, like his girlfriend, fucking tragic fashion and all of that shit. So I'm just happy that he's able to do what he loves, be active, and fucking get some wins, and finally fight in front of us, man. This fucking guy is going to Alaska and everywhere and to fucking fight some people. So I'm happy to see him here in Niagara Falls in front of a lot of people. He brought a lot of people for this event and was able to enjoy this moment with his own. So that was just amazing to see. That leads us to Vlad Kazbekov, Gary Conkle. Yeah, Gary was not it, man. That was not gonna be his night against Vlad. Vlad, man, he's one of two guys. Either the craziest fucking action fighter you're gonna see, or he's a takedown heavy, good wrestler guy. And he chose that approach for that fight and absolutely made it look easy here, man, for the very convincing decision.
Yeah, he dominated it start to finish. Like I pretty lopsided scorecards in there. I think there was a 30-25, but stuck to his game plan the whole time. Made it awful for Conkle, but
The funniest thing about the whole fight was when they were announcing the decision and there was 130-27 and Vlad was like, the fuck is that? Like, got angry, man. And I'm like, oh, that's so Vlad, man.
but then he heard the 30-25 and he got really happy right after that. Yeah, that changed his mood around real quick. But happy to see Vlad go in there and just stick to the game plan and get the job done. Uh, yeah, just domination.
Yeah, then Bobby Poulter, Josh Jackson. That was always going to be a tough matchup for Bobby, but Like he came in aggressive and he got cut and he got finished like in 30 seconds about. Uh was it a like early stoppage or decent stoppage?
Ah, fuck, man. He had a single leg. Like, at least give him a couple more seconds, especially after seeing the Theo Karras finish. You
Yeah.
got to give him more time than that because, like, they stopped at the second he grabbed onto a single leg. So that pisses me off because you don't know what would have happened after that. Like, yeah, he could have just eaten some more damage and it would have been bad, but he could have been able to get him to the fence and survive. But yeah, it was a good performance from Jackson. Like, they both got after it right away and was able to catch him when Bobby was throwing those kicks. So yeah, felt pretty premature though, but it is what it is, man.
Yeah, but I always prefer, like, I know the fighters don't, but I always prefer an early stoppage to a late stoppage. And yeah, I don't know if like if you would have been given more time, if that like that would have changed the issue of the fight. But no, I felt like he could have been given a little more time, to be honest.
Just
But
especially after seeing Theo Karras versus Pierce.
yeah,
But
yeah. No, that I don't know. Was it the same ref that I
I don't know.
didn't like concentrate on that? But that might be sometimes when there's a late stoppage, there tends to be like an overcompensation after. Maybe that was that. Maybe we're just absolutely speculating and saying some dumb shit. But yeah, my boy Urgis was there. He fucking Urgised it in the best. I fucking love Urgis Sigeta, man. I love it, bro. It's just he's gonna take you down and he's gonna slowly advance and pound you out with the least dangerous ground and pound that you're ever gonna see. But bro, his positional grappling is amazing. So you're stuck there and you can't do shit and you get TKO'd not because you're hurt, not because like the guy is devastating you with anything, just because you're fucking stuck there. You can't move and the ref got to stop it at some point, and that's what Urgis did again. And I fucking love it, man. I can't get enough of it. I wish he fought on every event, man.
Yeah, man, he's super relentless with that wrestling. It's like first couple attempts he didn't get them, but he didn't care, and he just kept working at it against the cage and got him down, and it was just one way traffic from there. So it was another super impressive performance from him. Like, he just suffocated Tassir with those punches and that pace. So another impressive performance. Like I said, such dominant wrestling. Love to see it.
Yeah, no, that was great, man. And leads us to the main event: Tisha Gautro, Eric Shelton. Good back and forth fight. Good test for Tisha. Really, like, if you want to see if you're ready, you got to fight one of the best guys. And there's often like matchups with UFC veterans that it's like, yes, the guy's a UFC vet, but since he left the UFC, he lost all his fucking fights, and like he's not really an elite fighter anymore. And that wasn't the case with Eric Shelton at all. The guy was on a winning streak, like won the majority of his fights when he left the UFC, and often at 135, which is not his optimal weight class. The guy is clearly a flyweight, and yeah, it was a tough matchup. I think it took some time for Tiche to adjust, and that's basically what cost him the fight here. Because if Tiche he would have got going a little earlier in that fight, I think he wouldn't have lost it. He just pretty much, according to me, gave away the two first rounds, and then he really had to win the three next ones. And I felt like every time he got to grapple, he pretty much won, except for the second round where he got his back taken, like at the end of the round, and that really made the round clear for Shelton. And then the other times when he got to grapple, even in the third round when he pulled the guillotine and like lost position, he scrambled back to his feet and was able to regain top before the end of the round. So every time he got his grappling going in the fight, was able to get away with the round. But Shelton was really able to not get caught into some grappling attacks in round five after getting caught into some grappling in the two previous rounds. And I think that's how Shelton was able to come away with the fifth and final round, which was clearly, in my opinion, two rounds apiece when they entered the fifth round. So Tisha was really close, and it was a good back and forth fight. And like I hope he doesn't take that to saying, "Oh, I'm not good enough," because at his young age and with his level of experience to be competitive and like very much a few seconds away. Like in my opinion, the, there's like 30 seconds left in that fight, and I'm pretty much like whoever does best in the last 30 seconds basically wins the fight. And then they exchange a bit on the feet, and there's like one right hand from Shelton that lands pretty clean, and I'm like, okay, so that's the best punch of the final 30 seconds. So I guess I have to give it to Shelton, but like few different things would have happened and Tisha would have won that fight. So like overall, I hope he's not that disappointed with like the loss and the performance, because like it was pretty good all in all, and Shelton, just the more experienced guy, was able to squeak by basically Tisha in that fight, man.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. But as two of the scorecards indicated, it was a close fight. I don't know about that 50-45. I believe there was for Shelton, but uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's absolutely insane.
yeah. But Taché, like that, he's faced a super game vet. Like Shelton was 16-8, or now 17-8. But he showed that he's really good as everyone knew. But yeah, super active in there. I think Taché definitely landed more strikes, and like you were saying, like he had success when he got his grappling going. If it was just like a bit of when he went for the neck, it felt like Shelton was a bit more experienced, and he just knew what to do to not give up the submission, to stay safe and end up on top. I think it was rounds 2 and 4 when he was able to end the rounds on top after getting taken down originally, but yeah, it was in every like instance of the fight. It felt like it was close. While Taché was landing more volume and was like more active, throwing lots of leg kicks. Shelton seemed like he would land a bit more clean, but um, yeah, really close fight. Taché shows that he belongs and could have gone either way. I feel like, but Shelton just did a bit better work.
Yeah, and the unsung hero of that fight is Mike Malott. Bro, he was on one for that one, man. Like, first, I gotta give him props because, like, basically all night his fucking teammates were fighting. And, like, you clearly saw at moments that, like, when Tisha went for the guillotine and lost it, like, you can hear it in Mike Malott's voice that, like, it was, oh, no, I can't believe this happened. And, like, he was really trying hard to not be, like, clearly rooting for a guy and not the other. But like there's moments where Tisha was doing something like you can feel it. I was like, oh damn man, that wasn't the move. But I gotta give him props for his corner analysis, bro. It was great. In the first round, he kind of goes after Shelton's corner because they don't have ice. They're trying to warm him with fucking water bottles and shit. And he's like, bro, you're not gonna warm him and well, like get his body temperature down and stabilize his heart rate with fucking bottle of waters. It's not gonna work. That's pretty stupid to do. And then he kind of goes at the corner, and I'm like, bro, that's hilarious, man. And then the round after, bro, goes absolutely nuts on the corner man who has no inswell. And like he's absolutely right, man, about that. Fuck, bro. He like you said, when you're a cornerman, you just need two things. That's Vaseline and an inswell. And like you cannot have all the other things. Like it doesn't matter. That's the two things you need. And yeah, basically, the fucking guy was trying to put ice on T-Shay's face to get his swollen eye better. And Mike explained like to a T what he had to do and what fucking tools he needed for the job. And he even went with that was a pretty good bar. Like Diana who came out here to watch some fights, and she never thought she was gonna be a cutman for that, and she has an inswell. And that guy who came in knowing that he was gonna do that job doesn't even have one. So yeah, man, that was a good moment seeing Mike just snap at the corner man and the fucking cut man and everything. I liked it, man. He's got a good personality. This Mike Malott guy, man.
Yeah, it's like Cruellen taught him well. It sounds like.
Yeah, no, bro. I wouldn't want to hear Cruellin
Oh
Like
god.
what he had to say about that, bro. Oh my god! Like if he was in a corner and he saw that, I think he just probably kicked the shit out the cut man and get a nail sweat and then swell out of his pockets because it's cruel and he probably carries one at all times. He's like, I'm gonna do the fucking job myself, man. But yeah, no, that was great, man. That was a great and like it's small stuff like that that I think like adds to a broadcast. It's not like many commentators or whatever that like have the knowledge of like what you should fucking do in a corner where you when you're a cutman or whatever. And like Mike brought these little bits and pieces to the broadcast, and like it was fun. It was entertaining, man. I think Aaron Brunstetter had a blast there too. Listening to him, I think he found that pretty funny, and it kind of was pretty funny, but because he was really getting pissed, man. He was really getting pissed at the cut, man. And so yeah,
Yeah,
generally good event for Unified, man. When they go to Ontario, they got these very solid lineups, and I think that one delivered.
yeah, they have a lot of really good fighters based out of Ontario that they'd like to show off when they go out there. And it was a great event. I felt like really entertaining all the fights, and um, yeah, those they had a good the commentary team had a pretty good chemistry. It felt like so good to see Mike Malott doing a good job in that role, like you said.
Yup. Then Fight League Atlantic the day after on Saint Jean Baptiste. They were in Sackville, New Brunswick, and bro, I just fucking feel for Derek, man. Like first card that he was having like 5 pro fights. That's like almost double the pro fights as in every other Fight League Atlantic card, and like he lost some fights as most of the promotions do, but he fucking lost his 2 best fights, man. Like the 2 greatest fights on the event that like yes, probably sold some tickets, but also gave like people from outside a reason to watch that card. Like the Dorian Dukai and John Moore fight was gonna be incredible. Christian Savoy against Michael Hill. Like I pretty much have an idea of how this fight would have went, but would have been fun for the time that it lasted. And yeah, they fucking lost these 2 fights. Um, the situation in the title fight was that Dorian missed weight, and I don't know about how much exactly, so I won't like say it, but I don't think it was much. Like it wasn't like 4 or 5 pounds or something crazy like that. And John didn't take the fight, man. Then like honestly, that sucks, but that's his right to not take the fight if his opponent doesn't fulfill the required weight for a title fight. So he did not take the fight. So this didn't happen. And yeah, the Christian Savoy Michael Hill, bro. Like what can I say, man? It's kind of a tendency now. There was a Michael Hill pulled, if we can call it like that. Is no showing to a fight called a Michael Hill now? Because that's kind of what he does, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know the reasons. I don't know why. So I don't want to bash the guy. But yeah, it sucks when it becomes. It seems like it becomes a regular occurrence.
Yeah, but like honestly, I don't really know the reasons for that one. And there might be a super good reason, but like once you pull out of the fight after a weigh-in, it's kind of tough after that when you pull out of some other fights that I at the last minute always, and like it's tough to not like put this on him. Like I don't know, bro. It's weird. I don't have enough info to go on a rant and say this and that, but like yeah, the time that he pulled out of the Shane Campbell fight after making weight and everything, that put a bad stigma on him. And now every time that he's gonna pull out of a fight, we're gonna say, there goes fucking Michael Hill again, not showing up to a fight. So it's kind of what happened, but it fucking sucks for Christian who was fighting back home, and you know that Christian still has that sour taste from the Dorian Dukai fight because yes, we know there was like 2,500 point deductions and it was a weird ass fight, but like there's no way that Christian feels like he had his best performance in that fight. So I know that he wanted to make that right in front of his people and kind of got robbed of that opportunity because as I know he was the one ready to make weight and to compete for that fight. And Like I don't know, man. If Michael Hill had something really important going on, like maybe he should have told it like before 1 or 2 days before the fight. Like maybe give the guys a chance to find a late minute replacement or like at least try to. I don't know, bro.
Yeah, it sucks. It just also sucks because like uh, there were two. Obviously, it sucks that these two fights were like arguably two of their biggest fights that they put on. Maybe and they both fall out on their biggest event, their first pro title fight. So feel super sorry for Derek because that's just it sucks. And what a bit of salt in the wound is like Dokai and Savoy could have had the rematch maybe if Christian could have made weight or something. Like I don't know. It just sucks because there were two guys that were able to fight. Um, I guess three of them, but you know what I'm saying. If like Christian could have made weight maybe, and then when uh, Moore said no, then Dokai and Christian could have had a rematch. But I don't know. It just sucks.
Yeah, no, it sucks because it was gonna be a great event, and like, it was still a great event. Like, it was still a
Hmm.
fun event with some fun finishes. Once again, some like very good upcoming amateur talent. But yeah, man, like we kind of lost the two pro fights that had the most attention, like outside of the eastern provinces. And yeah, man, the pro fights that were left, like fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know how you wanna say that, but they were all very very brief. So like honestly, it turned out into a night that basically lasted an hour and a half or 2 hours with an intermission.
Yeah, it went by super quick, but it was still, like you said, a very fun night of fights. FLA always brings the heat with these. Like, there's never a boring Fight League Atlantic card. There's always crazy finishes on them and fun fights. So,
Yeah. So did you get the? I came in from what I was doing a little late, so I missed the two first fight, Brad Davies against Calvin Jessom. Like, did you get to see them?
unfortunately, I think I missed the first three because they just when I thought it started at 4 in my time for some reason, but it didn't.
Yeah, bro, I'm having like it's the only thing that's given me trouble still in BC, except for the people's driving, which is insane. It's the time difference for the MMA events. Like I get caught every time, bro, every time.
Yeah,
Like
I'm bad with this super East Coast time zone.
yeah, no, the East Coast one where they're like 4 hours apart, except for Newfoundland, which I think is 4 hours and a half. Like it's kind of insane, but no, it's just I'm so like programmed to have my MMA at night that when my MMA is like at 2 in the afternoon, I'm like, bro, what the fuck is that? Like, how am I supposed to be ready for that?
How was it for you when UFC was on at 9 a.m. on Saturday?
That wasn't bad, man. Honestly, I love afternoon MMA. It's pretty like it gives you the chance to watch it and still maybe have a life like on Saturday night, which isn't bad. But yeah, Brad Davies won by TKO against Calvin Jessom, and then the second fight of the evening was I'm trying to find the posters with like the guys' full names. It was a fight between Ben Lees and Tim Ong, which both made their debuts at 215, and our Omi Elise won the fight by TKO2 in the second round. Then that's the first fight that I got through, like in the middle of it, a fight that ended in split decision between where are they? Between Joseph Nabong and Alex Thompson. And Nabong, honestly, um, was kind of impressive in that fight, even though he didn't win. But Thompson comes in as a 2-0 guy from Tower One Combat, who is like them and Renzo Gray CPI are the two gyms that are pretty much winning all the fights in Fight League Atlantic since the last few events. And Nabong comes in against a very good amateur fighter, and just with his like pure athleticism, and like you can see the guy's a fucking natural at it, honestly. And he didn't win the fight, like got dominated, got into some positions, but was able to get out of the positions and really make it a fight on Alex Thompson, who had to dig deep to get the decision win. I don't think it was worth a split decision. I think Thompson won the fight pretty clearly. But honestly, Nabung, I'm really interested to see him fight again with like more experience. I think the guy had been training for like 9 months or something, and he's already fighting and doing pretty good at it against a very good 2-0 amateur fighter from like probably the best or one of the best gyms back there. So good stuff by Thompson. He stays 3-0, probably looking for an amateur belt or something like that pretty soon. And Nabung, man, I want to see more of that guy for sure, man. That was a very cool fight. Then Connor Crosby against Joey St. John, and Connor Crosby is a very good fighter from Renzo Gracie PEI. Took him down, got the rear naked choke, and didn't make a big deal out of all of that, man. That was a good performance, which leads us to a fight that I was looking forward to because it's two guys that I remember their names. And that's two guys that look like one of them, I think, is one of the finest prospects that there is. It was Zach Raymond against Sam Rhino. And fucking Sam Rhino, man, has two fights, two absolute highlight reel finishes, and very quick finishes. So, man, what about that, bro? That was amazing.
Yeah, man, he's got some nasty, nasty kicks. First time he gets the head kick finish, and now with the leg kicks, he's looking like a super bright prospect with the great striking. Super. I can't wait to see this kid in there again. He has 2 fights this year now, so looking forward to the third one. Hopefully, we get to see him before the year ends. But he's a young kid, so he's got time.
Yep, and I'd love to see him develop for like a little while
Hmm.
before he gets like thrown into those big fights or whatever. Because he's so young, man. He's still so young. And then we had Dylan Bjornsson, undefeated amateur prospect from Renzo Gracie PEI, who was fighting Jeremy MG, because I'm not trying to say his name, bro. It's too much Z's. Why are there that much Z's in fucking Polish? I don't know, but like this family name doesn't even make sense to me, so I'm not even gonna try. But the guy's from Santos brother BJJ, and showed like very good uh jiu-jitsu, yes, but like generally a very good approach to a fight against, like I said, Dylan Bjornsson, who was 2-0 and had showed us some very good performance. And I feel like MG just fucking dispatched of him with a quick guillotine here.
Yeah, like Bjornsson had some success early, like with the wrestling, but Jeremy snatched his neck up super quick, stuck up against the cage, and he had nowhere to go. So it was a super nice tap, and I saw Jeremy doing some comparisons to the John Jones and Lyoto Machida submission and stuff. So it was some nice sub.
Yeah, no, that was some good stuff, man. And then we had the pro fights: Jake Cunningham, Rob Logan. Like as soon as this fight started, like the two guys were like kind of jawing at each other at the weigh-ins and everything, and you're like, this is gonna be a big man trying to brawl type of fight. And it was exactly that, man. And like it started, and I was like, bro, this is lasting like a minute max, and then 25 seconds later it was done, and Cunningham at the TKO. I guess was able to stay the most technical of the two. Like in the like Logan just came in super angry, wanted to take his head off, and got a like exposed himself to get countered, and got countered and got put out, and then woke back up and tried to still fight the guy. Another stoppage that could be discussed. I don't know. I felt like got dropped pretty bad, and I was like, "Oh yeah, stop the fight!" But then there was a ground and pound, and then Logan was able to get back up to his feet pretty well. And also, I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." After all, but I think the stoppage was okay. But yeah, crazy 20 seconds brawl between two absolutely big guys that want to probably still want to fight each other. So yeah, man, I like. How can you not like?
And now you gotta like that. It was a big finish by Cunningham. Like, got the ground and pound like 10 seconds after drop, or 10 seconds in. I originally thought it was a headbutt when I was watching, just because of the way that they came in and clashed. But on the replay, you could see it. You got that glancing right hand, like commentary said. So yeah, big performance from him in the debut, and Logan brought the fight like he said. Unfortunately, it didn't go his way, but happy for Cunningham to get the win in his debut.
Yup, leading us to Jericho McPhee, Juan Carlos Flores, and you know, I don't know if it's on that podcast or the French one. Like I don't really remember, but I was talking about like in grappling, there's some styles that you're either gonna submit them or you're not. Like it's either the guy is like good positionally and like you can have some rolls with the guy and everything, but he's very tough to submit. But he really doesn't submit you either. You're just having these tough rolls and like it goes back and forth, but there's almost never a submission. And there's this other style of guys that they just come crazy at you and like are very submission over position, and they're either gonna submit you 25 times in the round or you're gonna submit them 25 times in the round. And Jericho McPhee is absolutely that. Like he fucking goes for it on the ground, and he got a very quick first round submission here. So that time it works. Other times it didn't. Like against was it against Jesse Arts? No, against Jesse Arts is the time that he was losing and turning around and got the submission. But yeah, plenty times for McPhee, just like he went too hard and was the one that got caught. But in that fight, honestly, I don't think Juan Carlos Flores had pretty much like nothing for him on the ground. And Jericho McPhee was able to get a quick submission, a very aggressive grappling from him. And he's up to 3-2 now. Or 2-2? No, 3-2. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looked good. Like he got the takedown right away off catching that kick. He got the back and landed so many strikes before getting that rear naked choke. So, good way of opening up the submission with the strikes, and moves to 3-2 now. His transitions look super quick too in there. So overall, just a very good performance from Jericho to move to 2-3. So props to him.
Yup. And finally, the main event, Alderic Keith was back against Roberto Pixley. And he started the fight throwing, got countered, got finished, and retired, which, like, he kind of told in his speech, like, yeah, I wanted to come back because, but I didn't know if, like, I still wanted to do that. And, like, not saying that he looked like he didn't want to do that, but he looked like a guy who was coming in for a pretty quick fight one way or another, honestly.
Yeah, super aggressive early, like all offense, no defense. So went out on his shield, but yeah, Pixley found that chin with the right to drop him and finish him with a few more. So it sucks to see the return go that way. And yeah, I wish we could have seen him go on a win, but MMA's a brutal sport. It's, yeah.
Yeah, that often how it goes. And like he had been inactive for a little while. So
Mm-hmm.
like when you see guys like that, like making a comeback after a long time, but guys that are like not young in their career or whatever, you always wonder like how is he gonna look. And like he came out aggressive, like you said. So I can't say oh he looked rusty. It took some time to get on his game, but that's pretty much the opposite of that. He was super aggressive and like didn't have like much defense for what was coming against him, and unfortunately was the one that got caught. Even though almost like the big man fight between Cunningham and Logan, it was kind of a situation of like the first one that's gonna get caught real good is probably gonna get finished because Pixley came pretty aggressive too, as we know Mexican fighters are kind of renowned to do. So yeah, man, that
Yeah, and
was it.
and he's coming off a huge layoff against probably one of the guys that is coming off like the least amount of layoff.
Yeah,
Pixley
fought
had
like
just fought
for
less
absolute like 3 weeks ago,
less
same day as
yeah
Samurai. Yeah.
less than a month ago, which is crazy. So he was super fresh, obviously, and probably didn't have to cut much weight. But yeah, unfortunately, it went like that for Keith. But yeah,
Yup. So that's about it. Only two other fights that I want to look at quickly is some Canadian action. Jillian Robertson, Tabata Ricci. Jillian just didn't get going in that fight, but like I don't know if I put that on her or I just put that on Tabata Ricci, who is like pretty fucking good at MMA. Like I think Tabata Ricci, the worst thing that she has going for her is that she's probably a little too small
hmm
for the division.
she seems like an atom weight, which is crazy.
Yeah, I wish she never goes to atom weight because she would have to cut a little fat from that ass, and I don't want to see that go. But yeah, man, no, Tabata Ricci is pretty good, and like I think she was able to shut down Jillian Robertson's game. It's not Jillian that like didn't get going, even though in the third she was able to like get a takedown and get some things going finally, but was kind of too little, too late, and like she wasn't gonna submit Tabata Ricci like that. Well, like you never know because Jillian is kind of a Jericho McPhee style of grappler. Like she fucking goes for it, and yes, she can get caught, but off more often than not, she's gonna be the one that catches you. So like you never know. But Tabata Ricci is a good grappler. Like at base, that's what she does.
Hmm.
So that would have been pretty surprised if Jillian would have submitted her. So yeah, she got going too late there, and she lost a decision, which like sucks, but I think it puts things back into perspective. Like her first performance at 115 was very good, and I think people were like, "Oh, like is Jillian Robertson gonna turn into a contender or whatever?" And like honestly, I didn't really see that happening. So I think this loss here kind of puts things back into perspective, and we're like, yeah, Jillian Robertson's going to be a very good women's strawweight, like action fighter, probably outside of the top 15. And like that's good enough, man. She's gonna get some exciting subs. She's probably gonna win a couple more bonuses before she goes, and like not everybody's gonna become like a contender or whatever. So
I think I might be a little bit higher on the train than you because she's still so young, man, and she looks like she's been making like pretty big improvements in her game. Like not huge ones. It's not like she's going out there and like where she's out striking girls for 15 minutes or finishing them on the feet. But like I think she's got a lot more potential in the strawweight division, having a big size advantage on girls like you saw in this one. But if she could just be a bit more aggressive with the takedowns and then I could see her getting into the rankings and maybe making a bit of a run. But yeah, she kind of does have like a killer be killed kind of style, so it's hard to see her get all the way to the title. But I definitely think that she can go on another bit of a streak because she's got lethal submission game. And Tabitha Ricci just fought a really smart fight. It seemed like she's got really good wrestling. It seems like, and people with wrestling tend to beat Jillian. So she was able to can dictate when the fight went to the ground. And yeah, Jillian had some moments, like you said, in that third round, and she landed an elbow or two in the first. She was nasty in the clinch, but yeah, Tabitha was just a really smart game plan in there.
yeah, yeah, I don't know honestly, man. It's because she wasn't able to get ranked at 125, so I don't see how she'd do that at 115, which is
Yeah,
like better. Hmm.
I
But yeah,
guess a bit deeper, but yeah.
let's see, man. Then there was Arjun Buller. I did not see this fight, and as I saw the results and whatever, I don't think I missed much in terms of like a Canadian performance.
It's a good thing you didn't tune in because
Like first off, bro, why the fuck was a wrestler fighting in a ring with ropes?
they did him dirty. It was they set him up for all sorts of failure in that, but still, I don't know if it would have changed much if it was in a cage because Anatoly Makalin's like a he's a monster on all the special supplements too. I'm sure, but yeah, he just had Arjun backed up the whole time and was landing the shots he wanted before knocking him down outside of the cage or pushing him outside of the ring, sort of in the third, and then ref just laid Arjun flat back on his stomach and let Anatoly finish him off. So yeah, it's wasn't a great performance from him. Big layoff coming back against a monster like that. So yeah, it sucked to see that.
Yeah, and I know there was like a contract dispute or like
Hmm.
something wasn't like going well between Arjun and one, like, and that was the cause of the layoff, basically.
Hmm.
So I'm really not surprised that they matched him up against the worst fucking opponent in the world when he came back, because that's kind of what they do, man.
Yeah.
Like we like to watch some Muay Thai from one and like, oh yeah, they're good, refreshing promotion, but like they're not oblivious to the fucking like weird mean promoter tactics that most of the promotion like to pull on the fighters that try to not be happy about their contracts and renegotiate their terms or whatever. And That was a prime example of it, man. So fuck them for that, honestly.
Yeah, fuck One FC. They think that just because they announced the bonuses in the ring right after to get the fighters' reaction of how happy they are that people are just gonna think they're the best. But yeah, all the other stuff is pretty obvious to see what they do.
Yeah, and like you got pretty good Muay Thai fights with like people that weigh 120 pounds. So why don't you fucking do that and don't do MMA? Because nobody fucking cares about one FC MMA except when it's like fucking Demetrius Johnson or Angela Lee, or that's pretty much it. Her brother, like, but even then, nobody gives a fuck about her brother. They just watch because it's Angela Lee's brother, man.
Yeah,
So
all
like,
their champions are decent, but it's like there's no depth to any of the divisions, and I feel like even their champions would get exposed in the UFC pretty quickly to guys that have more well-rounded games.
yeah, because they lose to some fucking random guys, man. Like
Yeah,
if you look at Christian Lee's record and guys like that, bro, they got some weird ass losses to. And who's the wasn't didn't they have a guy that everybody was like, oh,
yeah,
that's the future?
Schulte.
No, not him, but
Uh,
him too. But and he just fucking got a yeah the Rainer de Ridier, Renier
oh
de
yeah,
Ridier
yeah. He
got
lost to
fucking exposed
Macklin
by
too.
Malikin, yeah.
Yeah, going for the double belt. He got brutalized on the ground to him, but yeah, their judging is also whack as fuck because they can just give whoever they want to win the fight. It's like, oh, you were trying to get the finish more, so you win, and it's
Yeah.
not round by round or anything. They just do it all as a whole.
No, pride
And
rules, man. Pride never dies, bro.
yeah, fuck, what else was I gonna say? I don't know, some other. Yeah, and they just will take guys' paychecks from them in the middle of the fight if they aren't risking their lives enough. It's like, oh, you weren't putting yourself in enough danger. You just lost 20%. Oh, you're still trying to stay safe, man. Here's 50% of your purse gone. They're terrible.
Yeah. And they lose hundreds of millions of dollars every year, and they're fucking like sketchy shit going on, bro. Peak MMA, man. Peak Asian MMA. That's what you get, man. And
At least they allow knees to the head on grounded opponents.
yeah. And yeah, before we go, I just want to say that every fight should be ruled by Stockton rules, man. It's the only rule set that works. Like lose a fight for 4 rounds and a half, tag the guy once, point at him, you fucking won, bro.
That's one FC
Stockton
scoring. Then I guess you agree
2
with them on that.
209 motherfucker. What, man?
Yeah, bro.
If you don't want to get slapped, bro. Stockton rules. So that the only people that always win all of their fights are like Nick Diaz, Nate Diaz, Nick Ouellet, and Rafael Ouellet.
Yeah, bro. Undefeated forever.
Yeah. So that's about it, guys, man. Thanks for tuning in. And next week, since there absolutely no fucking like MMA that's interesting to us or to whoever, because it's a fucking Sean Strickland versus he's basically fighting TBA, bro. You know when a guy's fighting TBA and like who's TBA? That's the fucking guy he's fighting, man. Abus something. Like Germans are getting super excited on Twitter, like the guy's really from Germany. But yeah, like, let's go, man. I guess that's what we're gonna watch or not. But yeah, no, like real Canadian MMA, like or even an event upcoming or whatever. So I interviewed Caio Machado. He came to the apartment right here and it was a great time. We spoke for an hour, man, and I asked him like all the real questions, like, do you think the USA are racist by when they give out visas, or what's the biggest sports in Brazil after soccer? So if you want to know the answer to all these very pertinent questions. And fucking watch that next week, and we're gonna see each other in 2 weeks, I guess, when I'll probably be back at work and like fighting suicidal thoughts. So
At least you'll be able to look forward to Samurai then when you're back at work.
yeah, I guess, bro. I guess something to look forward to when you want to be positive. But I don't think it's gonna be my 2 most positive weeks when I go back home, man. But yeah, I know shit happens.
I'll keep you in my thoughts here on the West Coast forever.
Yeah, fuck you. Oh man, I'm gonna come and build a fucking tent on Pandora, and I'm gonna be happy.
That's one way to get here. Yeah, bro.
Everybody's gonna forget about me, and I'm gonna just be living the Victoria life, man. Getting beat up by Victoria PD and fucking doing whatever, bro.
Yeah, just make sure you sell enough bottles each month to afford that jujitsu membership, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, bro. I didn't know that. Like, is it like that too in Victoria, where it's the city that pays people for their bottles, or it's like the grocery stores or whatever?
I think it's like the city. I don't know, man.
Yeah, because in
I don't know about
Vancouver
this
too,
stuff.
that when my cousin told me that, I was like, bro, that's the most hilarious shit. Because you know that the only people picking up bottles are homeless people, and they sell it for drugs. So basically, you can go to the city, and they're gonna give you your money for your drugs if you bring them enough bottles back. And then if you can't, then you just can go and pick up free drugs anyway and sell that because it's not strong enough, and buy that super like illegal home cooked fentanyl that's gonna like fucking bend you in half for half an hour.
Yeah, it's an evil world we live in.
Fucking let's go West Coast life forever, man. That's how you like it. Homeless people fucking everywhere. But good weather, man. Good weather.
You guys are the ones that sent him here.
Yeah, I know, bro, because it's too cold. We're like, why don't you go to the West Coast, man?
That seems like a
Fucking
good place to end the podcast.
yeah, fucking send bottles and smoke meth. There's a did I tell? Yeah, I told you that there's a guy that tried to give me meth at 7-Eleven because I bought him a fucking juice and there's a chocolate bar. I'm like,
So
I
fair trade off, I'd say.
could have tried some meth right there, bro, but I I don't know, man. Do they put fentanyl in meth?
You never know what you're getting. It's like a box of chocolates.
I guess, man. So tune in next week to see if I discovered meth and if I'm staying in BC forever as a homeless guy, building a tent in Josh's fucking backyard.
Yeah, it's not too far away from the from the base.
Yeah, I'd be just a little short walk away, man. Yeah, we're rambling, bro.